The roots of history run deep through Stafford, Virginia. We've raised leaders, featured artists, and honored those heroes among us. We've learned from the battles fought, and we look to the future with hope. We take this time to focus on what makes us exceptional, while constantly remembering where we came from. We're always open to fresh ideas and innovation, and savor all of the flavor at our fingertips. We find inspiration in our craftsmanship, and there's always a hidden gem around every corner. Find yours. Rediscover Stafford.
What is happening, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Let me see. I think I got my mic on. We're good, man. I hope everybody's had a good day, good week so far. It is playoff week, and these boys are going for this little bad boy right here, the old KFL Cup here, man. It's a traveling trophy. Jim, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, good evening. What's going on? How are you?
Man, we are good, man. We are good. We're getting ready to have the Massachusetts Maulers on, man. These guys are no joke, man. They have earned their way to the playoffs. They are hosting the Motor City Ambassadors this week, man. Looking forward to speaking to these guys, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. This is a fun crew. Hammers across the board. They know what they're doing. They get a home game, and then we'll see what happens, man. But these guys, it's playoff time, man. I tell you what. I woke up Saturday. I woke up Sunday morning. And, you ever get that smell in the air, like when it's football season and things are starting to turn. Playoff time, man. I literally woke up and I was like, man, this is playoff week for the KFL. I'm not even in the playoffs, unfortunately, but I'm excited for these guys, man, because, it's just, it's you win or you lose, man. If you lose, you go home. And I'll tell you what, the loser of this game doesn't get anything. Like, they don't get paid.
No, they get a little bit of street cred, but that's about the extent of it right now. And if you think about it, the one thing that would add to make everything perfect is just a little bit of crisp chill in the air.
Yes, and that's coming.
Fall. Yeah, oh yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that's coming. Well, without further ado, man, let's get these boys on, and let's have some fun with these guys. We got Ken Wood, Mike Morcone, Derek Brundle, and Matt Conant, man. Gentlemen, Massachusetts Maulers, what's going on, gentlemen?
What is up?
What's up? Represent.
Well, thank you for coming on. I know it's late for you, Derek. You should be in bed by now, man. And in your bedtime.
Dude, I even told the boys, if you guys want to do this, I'll even stay up.
Well, guys, first of all, congratulations on a great season. Ken, if you can hear me, man, I want to say congratulations to you as well, man. KBBT championship, man. Good job.
Yeah, thanks, man. I don't even know how that happened, given how bad I fished.
It's okay, man. It's all right, man. Survive and advance. And then we also have one more gentleman joining us. That's Mr. Blackbeard. Well, guys, as I said, look, man, first of all, thank you guys for your support for the KFL. You guys have been in the forefront of one of the teams that's really trying to propel this kind of format to where it is today. And you guys have been very supportive from day one. You guys got the concept. You guys are one of the teams that really took this to the sponsors, to the people, and you made it happen. And Derek, let's talk about that from the very get-go, man. I mean, here we are, we're at playoff time, but let's kind of look back about almost a year ago when we kind of first talked about this concept, man. And man, this year's flown by, bud.
Oh, big time. I mean, you and I talked about this a long time ago. I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, man, I can't believe from the little baby fetus that it was when we talked about it to the point that it's at now, being shown live on network TV. The sponsors that are involved, not only with our team, but with all the teams in the league, the popularity that it's gaining. I know it is super infectious in my team. And yeah, I mean, this has grown to the point where it's more than I expected for the first year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely taken on a league of its own. Let's say, I mean, isn't that a movie, a league of its own? But yeah, I mean, it's definitely taken on its own personality, man. I mean, we didn't expect it to be to where it is today. I mean, honestly, it was just an idea, and Mike, I remember you talking about this, man. You were talking about, fishing like this as an individual. I think you were on a podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're on Josh's Dark Waters podcast. You kind of talked about this, how, it's really changed, individual fishing is awesome. I mean, I love the live events. I love that kind of competition, but this is completely different, man. And I've enjoyed it, man. I've enjoyed watching you guys. I've enjoyed playing in it, but man, this is something that is opening a little bit more fun to the sport, man. It's supposed to be fun, right?
Oh yeah, and team sports are always more fun. It adds that pressure of, it's easy to fail on your own, but when you're letting other guys down, it really sucks. You want to do well for your buddies always. And that's just like a man thing. That goes back to everything. It's like you see it from everywhere, from as intense as the military all the way down to like kids sports. It's like your teammates or your buddies, those are the guys you want to do well for, and it adds that pressure and just makes it awesome. It's a lot of fun. I know we've, as a group, enjoyed the hell out of it. It's just been really great. We win as a team, we lose as a team, we stick together, and it's so every I've been on a few flat podcasts, and I always talk about it. I'm like, man, you guys, this is a lot of fun. People got to get in and get involved because it's great. I know they're adding a couple more teams, but I think we're going to continue to build on that even more the following years. This has been the best so far. I think it's my favorite thing. So,
yeah,
so far so good.
Ken, I had a story about you, man. I think this was a game that you guys played. I can't remember. I think it was against Pennsylvania at home, and you were upset because I think you had maybe like 60 or 70 inches or whatever, and you were kind of like upset about yourself. I think you were kind of in this individual mindset, and then Derek had to pull you aside. It's like, dude, we won. You know what I mean? Like, we won as a team, man. And like, you were second on the board, I think, at that entire time.
Was that me?
It was you, man. It was you. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I was thinking of it. I know, I don't even remember that, but I know a few times after these events, I've actually felt bad, like I didn't perform. It's like it goes back to what Mike was just saying. I think we've all kind of gone through that. Like, man, I sucked at this one. But if you take away, say we only caught 2 fish, and you take those 2 fish away, we lose. So it takes a little bit of a distance, I guess. Like the next day you feel better about it, but that day maybe you feel kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, talking about, one thing that holds true to you, I mean, you're in the military, man. This team aspect of it, how a unit can come together for a common purpose and a common goal. But this team concept, man, I mean, it just brings to heart of individual talents and having this come together. It's not easy, man, because teams just don't get along sometimes,
They don't. You're absolutely right. So this is where it's essential for those people who are born leaders, natural leaders, to be able to come together, bring everyone together, and pool the resources and find out, hey, this is what we have to do for our game plan. How do we strategize? How do we spread out the wealth and maximize everyone's efficiency to give us the best bang for our buck as a team? But also, it's about fighting for the man or woman next to you. And in this case, duking it out to get the biggest fish on the board. But you're absolutely right. You gave me goosebumps when you said that. And if I could take just a quick second to give we were flying half mast because of those that were lost in Afghanistan from the attack of 13. So shout out to their families, and God bless them and for the ultimate sacrifice to our country.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I mean, it's a sad time we're going through right now, man, in this country. I mean, it's just it's a sad thing, man.
It is. I didn't go left on you right there, and I know this is about.
No, we have a lot of military folks that fish with us, man, and you know what? I mean, they're extra motivated right now, in one way or another, man. So it's just unbelievable, Yeah,
and if I could real quick, so I was talking to Jeff Bader during one of the last tournaments. I think we were in the lead 8, and we were capitalizing on the moment on why fishing is so important, and what it does to us, and why it's able to bring that passion out for a lot of us. And for any veteran out there, anyone who's active duty right now, I work with veterans in military active duty on a daily basis, and I'll tell you, it's very motivating when you get to those people and you can talk to them and you can actually turn them on to fishing, because they're going to find the same things that you find attractive to the sport, to be able to bring everyone together, and it promotes solidarity in the Esprit de Corps. It really does. You can always go out there and try to hit that next personal best. In fact, I got a guy that I work with over here at Secret Service. He's my neighbor. He's excited. He's pumped. He's actually talking about joining KFL, and he's never fished more than just a couple times in his life. And so that's because he knows what lies on the other side of the fence for him.
Yeah, I think we get all the tests, man. That this is this kind of fishing, man. Especially when you're out with your friends, man. It just really alleviates all the just crap we have to deal with on a day in and day out basis. You know what I mean? But Matt, let's talk about you, man. You've had quite a season yourself, man. You've especially after last year, coming off last year, what you did was absolutely incredible. You had a heck of a run with KBBT, and then now you go into the KFL, man. You're on the team that's in the playoffs, man. When's the horseshoe going to come out of your tail, man?
It's bound to fall out sooner or later.
But not this weekend.
Not this week. It's not luck, y'all. It's not.
You have to keep it turned up.
Months now, so
it's not luck, man. I mean, this guy puts in a ton of work, man. A ton of work, and it's not unnoticed, man. There's no way. Anybody can answer this question. I mean, look, guys. I mean, you guys are hosting Motor City Ambassadors. You've earned your home game. Talk about this weekend, man. What would you expect? We got a storm coming through. It's going to mess things up. Got some flooding coming up. I mean, what's going to happen?
Yeah, that thing's fixing to dump anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain on us between tomorrow night and Thursday. I got a feeling that'll change things quite a bit, obviously.
Temps are going to drop.
Yeah, temps are going to drop.
Pretty cold.
So it's going to be something.
Ken, you fished here the KBBT in the last couple of weeks, man. The scores have been, I mean, not impressive. I mean, are your lakes turning over there, or what's going on?
I mean, at least for me, for the KBBT matches, I mean, it didn't line up for me. Like, Saturday I was fishing a live event.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that they were back-to-back events this weekend or this past weekend. So Sunday I was working, so I could only get out until like 8:30, 6 to 8:30, and then, I ran out later when I saw Steve put up a 13-incher, and I was like, oh man, so I ran out for like an hour to a nearby spot and was able to put up 2 other fish. But yeah, that I think if I was able to fish somewhere else, I would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
But just in general, this year has been really weird.
Agreed.
Like I went to a place today that was it was completely different. Weeds that were there a couple weeks ago are completely gone. Almost like it's late fall. It's just I don't get what's going on, but it's definitely weird. And the place I fished on Saturday, totally choked. Usually it's a wide open little. It's a small pond, but open water. But I mean, this was weeds to the surface. So it's I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely changing. It seems to be changing every year, because I think we've been going over the same type of thing every year for the past couple of years, right? With weird weather and lakes fishing differently. So no doubt. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, so Ken, real quick, what are the water temperatures up there?
Today I saw 76.
What?
Yeah.
So with that rain coming through, the 2 to 6 inches, I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
So with that 2 to 6 inches that is coming in, what do you think it's going to do? Turn the bite off completely because it's going to cool the water down?
I don't know. It could do weird things. I mean, maybe it'll turn the bite on. Maybe they'll think it's winter's coming. So I mean, who knows? But I would imagine it's not going to be 76 degrees on Saturday.
I would think it would be if you have that much rain coming, cool everything down. I mean, when that much rain hits, and if it's cooler than the surrounding water, it hits it like a blanket, and then it just drops to that bottom, hits it like an anvil, and it kicks up all that that debris. And gets very turbid for those bass that are sitting on the bottom. So, do you think it's going to help any of your chance if it does turn just slightly cooler in that water column? And do you have a game plan for either or if you're going to go the complete polar opposites as far as the temperatures themselves, being that's your home turf?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we all know the lake pretty well, so I don't know what we're gonna do. It can be a tough lake. It can be a tough lake.
That sounds like an awesome game plan.
That was
Yeah,
not the
I mean,
answer I was looking for.
I mean-
I gotta say, I was waiting for.
Hey, we're gonna go through.
We're gonna
We
go
have
through-
no idea what the hell we're doing.
I mean, we've discussed it. I think we're gonna wait to see what happens over the
have
course
to.
of the next 2 days.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, honest to God, I mean, what's the point of pre-fishing it right now? Because I mean, everything's
Right, no.
going to change. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
Friday maybe. I mean, obviously you can get out there Friday. You have until 8:00 on Friday to see what's going on. But I mean, like you guys know the water, you guys know the spots. But to do your pre-fishing now, when this thing comes through, I mean, again, it could really mess you up.
Oh yeah.
So
For sure.
So Matt and Derek and Mike, do you think you're gonna be back from a lot of shaky heads? Is it going to turn it on to the point where you're going to be overloaded?
They're not saying a word.
I had to.
They're not giving up any juice, man.
Look at that.
Well, we
Derek's
fish
like,
like it.
I know what you're talking.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry,
Detroit's
my
going to
earbud
see.
wasn't working. I didn't hear the question.
We have a lot of real small ponds in our state. Like everyone, when they talk about pre-fishing, I think a lot of people are thinking in context to some of these giant, awesome fisheries around the country, and we just don't have that in our state
Right.
at all. We have tons of small ponds, so it's such a different approach. I think they're going to see when they show up. They're probably going to pull up and be like, what the hell is this? And it's like, that's what we have to fish, man. That's all we have. So it's definitely going to be tricky. I mean, none of the ponds around here, if you haven't fished Massachusetts, it's not easy, man. I mean, they're super high pressure. And with COVID, like more than ever, I've seen more kayaks, boats, bank fishermen, even bow hunting, everything. Like all of a sudden, everyone's flooding to the outdoors, and it's
Right.
the last 2-3 years have been nuts. So you got cranked up pressure, so you got fish have been beat up all summer. You got
Right.
kind of crummy ponds to begin with, and then we got this weather coming through. So I don't think it's gonna be easy for either teams, but it's we'll see what happens. It's just but I don't think anyone's gonna give up too much either, so
No, of course
No, you
not.
got
I
some
mean,
stiff competition.
yeah.
all right, guys,
Yeah.
let's. I know we don't want to look ahead. I mean, I know you guys are very focused on what's going to happen this weekend, but let's look ahead. I mean, let's look ahead because after you have Motor City Ambassadors, and you guys take them out, if and when you guys do that, you've got. Let's just call it what it is. These guys are your rivals. I mean, these
Rubber
guys
man.
next door is your rivals. I mean, and you guys are split. 1-1 at both victories at home. Rhode Island's watching what's going on here. You guys know where you're fishing now, Warden's Pond in Rhode Island. I think that was the last place that you guys wind up fishing, correct?
Right.
Yep.
Yep. So let's talk about that matchup, man. Let's kind of look ahead. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Motor City Ambassadors, but let's talk about
Neither
that
are we.
matchup.
Yeah, neither are we. We're not taking Motor City lightly. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time in our own little chat group discussing options, and if we're lucky enough to take out Motor City, about going back to Warden's Pond and about facing the Rebels again. And I mean, everybody obviously is excited about that, prospect of happening. But we're just trying to be reserved, and we're really trying to focus on Motor City. I mean, these dudes, you got, Mike and Jeff, and these dudes, they don't play. They're coming out here to win. They're coming
No
out to
doubt.
win, and we are 100% focused on that game right now. If we succeed in beating them, then we will turn around 100% and focus 100% on Warden's Pond. I know everybody's thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all week, ever since we lost down there. I've been thinking about that.
It's got to have a sour taste in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
And it does, yeah. I mean, anytime you get beat by anybody, you get a sour taste in your mouth. Wardens is a tough place. I've fished there a few times now, and it's always been tough, but we always seem to stumble into them here and there. I think we have got a better grasp on it now.
Yep.
And I think that, if we're lucky enough and we succeed against Motor City, then I'm sure this team will be hitting that place hard over the next week to really try and dial in something.
So I've seen silence is deadly, right? I mean, one of those things. You guys have a mutual respect for Motor City. They haven't been coming out and talking trash and everything else, and you guys haven't either. You guys kind of played it close to the vest. And, that means that tells me two things. Number one, you guys have mutual respect for one another. And number two, you guys are nervous as hell. You know what I mean?
This could be the end of our season. I mean, you can't not be nervous that this could be the end of our season.
Correct. And you get nothing. Whoever loses gets nothing out of this game. And
so I hate to say it, but, I will put my money on our team against Motor City just because it's our team and it's because we need to keep pushing forward and moving on to the end of our season, and it hopefully will not end this weekend.
No doubt. Again, looking forward, are we going to start seeing a crank up of smoke when it comes to Rhode Island? Is it going to be a completely different story? Like, Ken, are we going to have those asterisks? The asterisks and the 43 seconds.
Blackbeard on them, I have never seen. Release the inner pirate.
I have never seen a bunch of grown-up guys get so mad over an asterisk. My God.
Oh, man. Yeah. No doubt, man. No doubt.
Hilarious.
But they took that and they used it as motivation, man. And here they are, you know what I mean? But, I mean, how sweet would it be to pay these guys back on their home turf and then to win against that? That's kind of like Yankees Red Sox. You know what I mean? Going in. Remember when Yankees were up 3-0, right? Remember when the Yankees were up 3-0 in the ALCS?
Let's just clarify, we're the Red Sox in this scenario.
No, exactly. And then the Red Sox went in and beat the Yankees 4 straight games to go to the World Series and then won the World Series. Right. That is, that's the kind of rivalry that you guys are having. And yeah, I mean, they're at home. They've got the cards in their hands. But to go in there and take them out, to go to Chickamauga, it's got to be the ultimate, right?
Yeah.
It would be the ultimate win for sure. But we got one more win to get before we can get that one.
Yeah. Win or lose, I mean, I think it'd be great to face them again.
Yes.
I'm sure they feel the same way.
They want you, no doubt. Yeah. Because look, as Ric Flair said, to be the best, you have to beat the best, right?
Right.
And so, that's just one of those things. It's just great ultimate competition. But this is what the KFL is all about, man. I mean, as I said, when we kind of put this together, these are the kind of matchups that we really wanted to see is, developing, healthy rivalries. And by the way, come KFL 2022, you're going to have a lot more rivals from my understanding. We've got some teams already lined up out of the Northeast. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We're talking Northeast, or we're talking
awesome to
East
see that
Coast.
grow.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
yeah, Northeast. We've signed 2 teams out of the Northeast so far, but we'll announce those.
I don't know how.
at due time.
Not sure how much we're allowed to say, so I won't say anything. But from what I've heard about the 2 teams, they're going to be pretty stout too. So it's just going to be hyper competitive up here. So
yes, absolutely.
It already is. But.
Well, another thing too, I think what this league has done is showcased you guys as not only fishermen, but your fishing waters. You know what I mean? We've seen waters like the Potomac River that has absolutely sucked. You know what I mean? But it's a great fishery, at times. But we've seen what it can do in the summertime, but we continually see like Michigan's waters that continue to produce limits time after time. We've seen the Northeast waters continue to produce fish time after time. We've seen Florida, constantly put up fish. Texas put up fish. I mean, these are great tourist destinations, and it continues to put up numbers on paper, that we're seeing by these teams. It's just been incredible.
Yeah, we've been arguing that for years.
Correct.
Saying that we you might not know about the anglers up here or the lakes, but we got some great fisheries.
Yeah. Can we get into that real quick? So, obviously, the KFL, has put, we kind of confirmed what was going on up there. Now, KBF has gone up there, did their thing. And we've seen bass, and now we've seen Hobie go up there, this year. Do you guys expect that to continue, or do you expect bass and Hobie to kind of retreat back to the Midwest like they've started their series on for next year?
I would like to see them come back up here. I've heard Hobie's not going to because they didn't think that the turnout was good enough. I don't know if that's come from anyone within the Hobie organization, or if it's just people saying that, but that's what I've heard. I mean, I think it'd be a mistake. It was their first time ever up here.
Right.
Only a single event. I mean, the guy, if you have 2 events up here, you probably get a bigger turnout. Where guys who invest in that one, they have another one that they can go to without having to travel a long distance. So I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see him come back, but we'll see.
I mean, with Mike Iaconelli being a Northeast guy and that their spokesperson, I think it would behoove them to come back up there. You know what I mean? I don't know about the Chesapeake Bay event. I wasn't sure about that one on the schedule, but certainly Champlain or something like that. It's got to come back.
Oh yeah, I would think so. Yeah,
I would love to see a Lake George. That'd be incredible. Mm-hmm. That fishery is so awesome.
That place is so awesome.
No doubt. Yeah, or Oneida. Oneida's a great lake too.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it would be really, really cool. Guys, so let's talk about the championship. Let's talk about this trophy, right? This is what we're all going for. It's gonna be held at Chickamauga. What y'all's experience at Chickamauga? We've already have teams literally pre-practicing, pre-fishing for Chickamauga. I mean, that's how intense it is. What y'all's experience there?
None.
We have a fairly decent track record between some of us on the Tennessee River chain. I feel like that'll play into that.
Gotcha. Confidence?
I mean, this dude over here, right over here, on Gunnersville, laid the smackdown.
Yeah. That's right.
Chick is not very far from there.
It's a different lake, though, man, than Gunnersville.
That's
different lake.
Yeah.
Right.
That are capable of going to foreign waters and figuring them out within a few days. That's what I think the Maulers have going for them if we make it to the championship, whether it's in Chick or not. I think we got the capabilities to make it happen on the road for sure.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
That was kind of my goal too. When I was picking this team, to pick guys that absolutely number one kill it locally, and are absolute road warriors when we get on the road. I think that's the best well-rounded team you can have. I know there's a lot of teams in this league that a lot of their guys have never left the state. And if you look at a lot of the guys on our team, our guys have won all over the country in diverse fisheries. I think that's what makes us such a well-rounded team, and I think that's what gives us a lot of skills cumulatively. Everybody's got, this extra strength of what they've learned in a different place that they apply at home, or vice versa, that makes them strong in that category. So I think Matt hit that right on the head. I mean, that's one of the things that we're better at, is figuring out water on the road. So I think we would feel very comfortable at Chick for sure.
One thing I love about it, man, it's an ultimate North versus South matchup. And let's say you have a team from Texas. Let's say if Lone Star Bandits come and meet you guys up there. I don't know. I mean, they're favored. There's no doubt. I mean, they're a machine. They're undefeated.
Now they're on Fairfield, home field, right?
They're on home field. Yep. So they'll be taking on the winner between Alabama and Tar Heel Lunkers. They're going to be at Fairfield with a Derek Miller, a Jim Louvier, a Jared Brockelman, and a Jeff Isham. They all know that lake. It would be unbelievably tough to beat them at that location. So then they'll go, if they win, they'll go to Chickamauga. Now, the ultimate test, guys, we've all been debating this. It's been debated all across kayak fishing. Is the northern anglers better than the southern anglers? And you can't get any more north or south than Texas and Massachusetts if you guys make it. I mean, it's going to be a showdown. You know what I mean? And
we'll find out, right?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. It's going to be real cool to see. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Incredible. It'll be incredible.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on this for sure. And, it's just one of those things. I mean, it's going to see, I can't really wait to showcase this on Pride Outdoor Network. We have another network starting. I mean, it's just going to be a lot of eyeballs on this particular championship. And I mean, look, you guys have every right to be there, but you got to earn your way. You know what I mean? It's like those other teams have to earn their way. So, but it's going to be really cool. Derek, we have a lot of new teams that are looking to come in. And again, I can't think of a team that really took this format and really brought it to fruition. what advice could you give? And anybody can answer this. Mike, Matt, Ken, what advice would you give a new team starting out in the KFL to help, number one, get a team together? And then what did you do to go out and pitch to sponsors and have them help you support through this season?
I mean, me personally, I picked guys I knew I could rely on. I picked guys that I trusted. I picked guys that I knew that would help further this thing along, not just the Maulers, but the league itself. And as far as the sponsors go, I mean, you don't have to take my example, but I went to companies that I already had an affiliation with, or that I was in the process of having an affiliation with, and started there. And I let them know that this was the first year of the league, and this would be something absolutely huge for them as well as for us. And just kind of work that relationship to the point where it was like, let's get in on this. Let's get in on the ground level of this, and let's try and help your company. Let's try and help the Maulers. Let's try and help KFL blow this thing up to the point where not only companies that are involved with kayak fishing or fishing in general, but other companies, non-endemics, I mean, where we can get to the point where we're broadening this whole thing to audiences where somebody may not fish, they might just love to golf, and hell, they sit down on Saturday morning when they're waiting for tea time and they're watching KFL, waiting for the tea time to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what this could really be.
I guess we would all agree it was a big risk putting this on Pride Outdoors. It was a big risk. It was a big move, big risk. But guys, we have averaged over 42,000 views a week on this particular platform. It's something that hasn't been done, you know, in terms of you know, any other kind of series that they just don't. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, it takes time, skill, people like Jim to get the content out of you guys. You know what I mean? It's not easy, but man, it does flow fast, like between 11 and 1 o'clock. And when people are on fish and you've got guys throwing fish on top of, you know, one another. And again, Matt, Derek, and I mean, you guys do an exceptional job when it comes to being on the water, fishing, your setup, and how you explain what's going on. I'm open the floor for anybody who wants to talk about this, but again, going back to this team concept, going back to what KFL is all about and broadcasting this and pleasing your sponsors to be able to put this product out on eyeballs that are out there watching it on Pride Network. What advice would you have to give to those people about fishing in a live event and being able to be broadcasted in the way that you do?
I have an observation, actually. I mean,
yeah, Mike.
So like sometimes, you know, I think advice I would give, it's really easy to focus, you know, it's difficult to multitask at times. It's really easy to focus on just fishing or maybe broad, you know. I think what we need to realize that part of the goal to grow this is to put out a decent product, you know, something that's watchable and enjoyable. And sometimes you hear guys, and I'm not, you know, criticizing anyone in particular, but, you know, you'll hear questions asked and things like that, and you'll just get like, yep, you know, and it's like, so I think we got to be like a little conscious of trying to like realize that we're trying to put something out there, which if there were new teams, you know, I'd probably give that advice just to say, hey, look, guys, like fishing's the most important thing. That's number one, obviously, but like, just, you know, remember we're trying to grow something here too together. And if you have an opportunity to speak and try to speak in a way that's semi-professional and try to give people something too, you know, if you can. But yeah, the heat of the moment, it's tough to, you know, you're so focused, like I don't even eat or drink, never mind talk, you know. So it's you know, I know it's difficult, you know, but I would try to give that advice, you know. Just try to focus on that so we're putting out a good product, you know.
That's so good, man. One of the things that we hear a lot from teams and players that are in the broadcast, it's like, well, I don't want to give up the juice because the guy's fishing right next to me. I don't want to, you know, give up something. And I try to tell them, like, this is an entertainment business first, right? And we want to entertain, we want to educate folks. I mean, if Matt Koenig pulls out a jig and he's flipping into a log. We want to know, what are you throwing, man? What are you doing? What exactly, is your technique, or how are you doing it, man? Because people are watching. We're trying to get eyeballs into the sport, and let them. Number one is entertain, educate, and edify. Those are our 3 E's with the KFL, right? And again, I think that's great advice. Is we've got to keep the entertainment factor first, right? And then we want to put you guys on good water, right? And then has cell phone service, for God's sake. You know what I mean? How many times have we got anglers on and they're just like in la la land,
The water is a big deal, I think. Like few of these teams that I've seen, they kind of take it to we've experienced, I should say, to a Dinkfest pond, and it's like, we want to be putting fish on the board, and like you said, we want to have some entertainment going on here. Like you said, it's tough when you're just catching dinks all day and to be entertaining.
Yeah.
We've had our match in Rhode Island where we've put up 180, 190 inches, and we take people to ponds that we know are going to produce just for that satisfaction out of people seeing us catch fish. It's like,
agreed.
Prove who the better fisherman is. We don't want to go to a dink fest where you're going to struggle all day. So
yeah, no doubt.
My suggestion is to pick waters that put out fish.
Give me one memorable moment from each of you during the KFL season so far that sticks out in your head.
I caught the very first bass on KFL Live.
You did. 100%. You're exactly right.
I want to say the moment where me, Derek, John, and Mike were all fishing in the...
That was awesome.
Matt, I didn't know if we could say that. That was my moment. I'm like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't bring that up.
Yeah. that was...
No, please continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead. Let's hear this story.
What's the story?
We were sitting there, and we found a small section where the fish were, and we're all huddled together, and we're catching fish. And then all of a sudden, we see the thunderstorm rolling in, and
oh yes,
we didn't want to leave at the same point, but
I do remember that
lightning bolt hitting the water.
Dumb.
Wasn't that Bay State? You guys were playing Bay State, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah.
It was hitting a lot closer than anything. We bailed to the island.
Begging these guys. I'm like, get off the freaking water. They're like, it's not so bad. I mean, the lightning's only like 500 yards away.
Yeah, they're standing on top of the kayak like Ric Flair. Woo! Yeah.
It got to the point where there was no choice left but to leave. When one cracked so close, it nearly blew the hat right off my head.
No doubt. No doubt.
It was pretty scary. But, I mean, at that one point, we were locked on, and Matt's not kidding. He says a little section. Matt was a cast away from me. I was a cast away from him. Both of us on the pinpoint GPS on the motor guide, and we were casting at each other's trolling motors and almost hitting them, and then reeling back and catching fish in the middle. That's how small that spot was.
Wow.
And it was like, we called Mike and Matt. I mean, Mike and John, and just said, dude, this is it. Let's just hammer this one little hole. And we literally were 4 points and just firing in there, cast after cast after cast after cast. It seemed like Matt and I just had the right angle on the spot, and we're catching the fish. But, man, that thunderstorm rolled in, and we watched it coming from the other end of the lake. We're like, we're going to have limited time. And then the fishing was just so good. It was like, I'm not leaving. And then it was like, boom. And it was like, all right, time to go.
Time to go, boys.
Over to this island. And there was this house just on this random little island. There's a little cottage on there. And we pulled up on their dock, and we got up and we hid in the outhouse for a while. It was just cracking down. One of us stayed a little longer in the outhouse when we decided it was safe to get rid of some
I get
business.
nervous.
But
I had a nervous poop. All right. All right. I was freaking out a little bit.
Oh, hey, you got to have a little thunder with that lightning.
That was pretty wild. I forgot about that, so you just said that, man. That was a pretty wild day.
That
Scared the
was
crap out of you, huh?
100. That was the moment I was thinking of too. But I'm like, man, I don't know if I should admit that we were like
Nah.
basically riding the light down the wall. like God, you know. But yeah, that was so. That was probably the most memorable moment of my entire season. You know, even with some of the travel, that was funny as hell. But yeah, that was great.
That's hilarious.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you a question real quick? Actually, it's for all three of you guys on the bottom here of the screen. When you were talking, and Derek, you mentioned this before when Greg was asking you about bringing new members to the teams. What advice would you give them? Mike, I'm gonna point at you real quick if I may. What would you say is more important when selecting team members? To be technically proficient or tactically proficient? Knowing how to employ your gear or knowing what your gear does and being able to actually do it.
That's a good question.
Well, it's a good question, but I think, and it's not a cop out, I would say both. I mean, it really, like, I think our group is so well rounded, and you know, we have, like, I would say John and myself, we've excelled in some like offshore tournaments, and we go up to Maine, we do real well, and you know, other stuff like that. You know, Ken is just a beast with power fishing, so good with shallow stuff. Derek and Matt do it all. I mean, they're so rounded. Blackbeard's good at talking trash.
Is that the technical?
Exactly, right?
But so my advice would be, you know, it's like, I think Derek, you know, and Dick, honestly, like leadership, you know, it starts at the top in any organization, I think. And Derek had a good plan coming into this and picked some guys that, you know, I think understood different strengths. And we have a really good group of guys that are willing to, like, there's tough decisions to make every week. Like Joe Tadeo, he's been working way too much, and we haven't really seen much of Joe. Joe's as good as anybody in the country for my money, you know. And it's just, there's nobody complaining. Nobody, you know, we have good juju. We have like a good balance. So I think both tactical, you know, I think it's all important. Like, you really have to. I think what gets overlooked sometimes is the chemistry, you know, like we're traveling together.
Oh, for sure.
We have to work together. We got to share information. We have to do all these things. And you definitely want to trust people. But more than anything, I think it's both, and balance is the most important, is how I would answer that, you know?
Because one's got to follow the other, right? Ultimately, you can know a lot about it. So let's say, for example, you know, you have people who are going to be book smart and street smart. And they can be both, absolutely, 100%. But if you're out there fishing, you know someone who knows what's going to happen eventually. It's just going to catch on because they know how to employ the equipment, as opposed to actually getting out there and getting the feel for the line, getting the feel for when you're dragging the tungsten across the bottom, whatever the case may be. If you're selecting team members, then are you actually going back and doing a little bit of research on them as well? So if you're putting new teams together, are you going to go based off what their, you know, not so much their resume, but what their portfolio would be of catches, big ones versus small ones, or just the sheer number, knowing that they're going to be a strong angler in the future?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so my whole plan behind picking the guys that I did, and I put a lot of thought into it. I've seen these guys perform day in and day out over many different terrain, so to speak, and all over the country. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me. And I think to take that one step further, as I'm figuring out who's playing in the next game and who's fishing down the line, and I mean, I just base it off of how they've performed in that atmosphere, or even if we have the opportunity to see how they performed on that particular lake, whether it be in KFL or EKF or KBF or Hobie or Bass or any of these organizations. I take all that into effect when I'm trying to figure out how I think we can put our best foot forward as a team. And there's a lot of discussions, you know, amongst the whole team, and nobody's afraid to put in, you know, in their 2 cents, and nobody's afraid to take any criticism or give it, or I would say criticism, because nobody really does that on our team, but critiques, I guess you would call it.
Constructive criticism, you could say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I mean, positive criticism anyway. So there's nobody ever gets down on each other. You know, like we're always hacking on each other. We're always saying stuff to each other. But I mean, bottom line comes down to, I know that I can trust the guy on my left. I know I can trust the guy on my right, the guy in front of me, and the guy behind me, and everybody else that's on the team. And I think that's a huge factor. And I think like Mike really hit the nail on the head when he said chemistry. I also picked a group of guys that I knew would work well together. I honestly thought it might take a little more leadership on my part to make that happen, but it hasn't been that way. These guys all know the common goal, and they all want to succeed, not only in KFL, but as their own angler, as their own person. And I think it's kind of helped everybody kind of grow a little bit, knowing that they can, call the Triple Crown winner Matt Conant and say, "Hey, dude, what would you do in this situation?" You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Do you take anything?
And Matt is going to absolutely tell you. I mean, he's probably not going to tell somebody else, but he's going to tell somebody on the team what he would have done in that situation, or how he's handled that situation, or what maybe is even more important, what hasn't worked for him in that situation. So I think that's really a huge part of it.
I couldn't agree more. Honestly, I love what you're giving as far as feedback. But does that mean that you take anything personal? Or because if you take something personal, it can mean you can take it too serious, as opposed to if you do take it personal, you know you need to improve. Well, there's a flip side of that coin, though, because if you take it personal, and you have constructive criticism, or you have people who are giving you the feedback. Let's say you have the Triple Crown man coming up, and Matt's telling you, you know what, this is what I would do, because maybe that's not working for you. If to take it personal is to help improve. So in other words, if you have guys like me who are I've been bass fishing my entire life. God forbid I catch a big one anytime in my near future. I'm new to kayak fishing. I've done my homework, and I want to come and fish on any of the teams that we have in the KFL. I'm not going to go out there and look like a fool. I'm going to make sure I do my homework, right? So I'm not going to take it personal when people tell me, "Hey, you know what? You need to be doing this and this instead of this," and throwing a 3/8 instead of a half. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So
I understand that.
Absolutely. And so I think that my point in all of what I'm getting at is the success that you have brought to the table as a team as a whole reflects highly on you as a leader and everyone as a whole as a team. Because if you're able to give and take in areas that you may be lacking in or that you may be strong in, good on you. So you know what, my hat's off to you guys. It really is.
Oh yeah, any successful team has a good leader. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and again, I think this team is full of leaders, no doubt. I mean, I'm sure Derek's not doing this. Derek's not just doing this on his own. I do have a question though. Let's talk about how the sausage got made. Okay, let's talk about the nitty-gritties. Be honest. Look, Washington Warhawks. It was not without a struggle through our season. We had to make changes. We had to, make some hard decisions. And every team goes through this little, we're kind of a family. So we had some arguments. We had some disagreements and stuff like that. Is there any point in time in the season to where you guys were absolutely like, y'all can just go screw yourself? Or, like you guys don't even know what you're talking about.
So.
Or were you guys were just like, hey, smooth yourself all the way through?
I don't even think close to that ever. Not even close. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Really? Yeah, no. It's it's a good group, man. They're all just good guys.
Is it? I guess it's a whole thing. I think winning cures everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody on the team feels the same way that I do, or at least I hope so. At least that's my perception. That they also can trust everybody else on the team, and they also know that everybody on the team is going to put in 100%, whether they're fishing or not. I mean, our guys that aren't fishing are in our chat blowing it up, like, let's go.
Love it.
And,
Love it.
And the team
and
is
you
very
feel that,
supportive
like
of
when
each
you're
other.
on the water, like, my team does that too. You want to do that for your team. When they encourage you along on the water like that, man, it just pushes you to the next level.
And not look at our feeling down. Go ahead, Mike.
No, sorry. What I was going to say, too, is just, like, geographically, like, look at some of these teams nationally where they're bringing dudes on the same team from different states, and we're all within, like, 45 minutes to an hour of each other?
Yep.
And we fish against each other all the time. Stuff that you don't see nationally,
Yep.
Thursday nighters. Ken's Trail is, I think, one of the best local trails that there is.
Yeah, for sure.
We do EAF together, so, like, we're competing nonstop on top of that, and I think with good competition comes respect. So there's a mutual respect, and there's a lot of stuff that nationally you guys don't see that goes on just between us that I think helps strengthen a bond too. Like when guys are out there constantly whooping on each other.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
You just respect them, and we're in such a small area. We know each other probably a little better than some other teams do too. So. Yeah,
because the spotlight's not on you 100% of the time. It's on you right now with KFL. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. Behind the scenes, you still had everyone working together, right?
Yeah.
Was that the hardest part, though? Because, I mean, you guys compete against each other so much. Then, like, coming together as a team, it's like, wait a minute. Do I trust this guy by giving this info? Is it gonna work against me later on in the season when the KFL's over? You know what I mean?
That's what's surprised. Honestly, I've been surprised by that how open everybody's been, because we had the Dakota Lithium team for the Team Cup for the national championship. We've done that 2 years in a row, and we as a team didn't share anything. Like, everybody kept it a secret.
Right.
And Joe was on the team, and I mean, guys that I love, like Casey Reed and Jason, and but yeah, this is totally different. Everybody shares everything. We go out pre-fishing, we post up, where we caught fish. I was for one of the events, I went out looking for rock piles and everything, and shared where those locations were and things like that. So it's definitely surprising.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's funny that Ken says that, because I'm going to give a little bit of juice here, and it's not particularly on this event, but a lot of times too, we'll use the Angler app, and then I'll just post it in the chat, or Ken will post his in the chat, or somebody will post. It tracks your route, and then take pictures of all your fish. Guys can look right at it and just find out where you were, and then he did well in that area. I'm going to pre-fish in this area, see if we can cover more water, and then that's a lot of times we each grab a piece of that puzzle and then try and put it all together at the end for a full piece.
That's good information there, bro. I mean, that's a little bit of juice for next for
a little
teams.
Bit, just a little.
Yep. That's good, man. That's a great use of technology, man, for sure. No doubt.
That app is great. I mean, I use it all the time, and I look back at what I did, and you can track how long you were out, as many miles as you did. There's a lot of other good information, not just where your fish catches were.
For sure. Well, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Do you guys have anything you want to say, sponsor-wise? Any predictions about this weekend, man, what we're going to see?
Well, I don't know if we're forward enough to make a prediction. I can predict that we're going to give it 100%, and we're going to try our hardest to, unfortunately, put down the Mad Dogs from Detroit. But, we're going to try our hardest. We're going to go out and do what we do and fish hard and just leave it all on the table and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to, talk a little bit about our sponsors. X-Zone has been a huge supporter for us this year. They've covered a lot of our fees and given us just a tremendous amount of baits. I mean, I literally bring a box this big full of X-Zone baits to every single tournament and say,
good on you. Good on
boys,
them.
Take what you need out of this. And it's incredible. They have incredible baits, and we all love them very much. I've done very well with them. But, Fusa USA, we're very lucky that they're behind us. We got some other companies that are trying to come in, like Malone, great company out of the Northeast.
I have one of their carts, by the way, on my
They make the best carts in the world. I mean,
no doubt.
I broke one of my carts, and I called them up. I said, "Listen, how do I gotta get one for this weekend? We were in the KBBT Teams Championship." And I said, I'll pay extra shipping, whatever it is. How much is it going to cost me? And they said, Derek, relax. You have a Malone cart. It's a lifetime warranty. We're just going to send you a new one right now. And they literally sent it out right away. And I got it in time for that weekend. It was incredible.
That's beautiful. Beautiful thing.
Incredible company. Thrasher Sports Apparel, they supplied our jerseys this year. Ray's Eyewear. I mean, Ray's Eyewear has been a big supporter of ours as well. So without these companies backing us, and I get messages from those companies all the time. Like, hey, you guys are great. They're watching. They're making sure the investment that they're making is coming to fruition. And we have delivered what we have, told them we were going to deliver for them this year. And they're all very happy, and they're all very happy, and more. Absolutely, they've all said that you have exceeded our expectations, and that's just kind of through due diligence and working hard at it. Obviously, performance is a huge factor for them as well. But
100%.
It didn't hurt that Pride Network is giving us 42 to 45,000 views a week. I mean, that's insane.
That is insane.
So yeah, I mean, thank you so much for all of our sponsors for the support that they're doing, and they're giving us, and I know that they're going to be giving us even more support next year, which is incredible because
Awesome.
they're ready to jump in and do some work so are we.
Yeah, we're actually hearing that right now. We're starting to get a little bit of information in from different sponsors. Just they've seen the product and they like it. So it's time to ramp it up a couple notches, man, and see where this thing can really go. So I'm excited. And again, you guys were on very, very get go from this. I mean, Derek and Matt, we kind of talked about this from the very beginning and kind of how this idea was going to come around, man, and to see it come through like this. And again, Mike, I heard your podcast with Josh, and I can't tell you how much I did appreciate everything and the great things that you did say about it. And I mean, look, man, let's carry forth. Let's finish out this year strong and see if the Maulers are holding this trophy up right here, man. And good luck this weekend. And I'm looking forward to this matchup. This matchup is going to be awesome. I mean, it really is. I hope. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know there's mutual respect with both teams. And not only that, you're going to have so much fun together. After the game and the camaraderie.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Detroit guys staying at my house, so I'll be keeping an eye on them. But
you're gonna make them you're gonna make them that special dinner on Friday night.
Yeah. I mean, the special dinner with.
Is that what Mike had? Is that what Mike had in the John? The special dinner. Looks like Dumb and Dumber.
A little bit of a side of panic attack.
To the camper and shut off all their alarms for Saturday morning so they sleep in.
Yep.
We actually have Blackbeard's going to be taking 60 grit to their leader too, so we're in good shape here. We're good.
That's awesome.
We've got a cookout and stuff planned for after the game Saturday, unless they win. Then they're out of here. But no, I mean, we plan on having a good time, and we're excited for this weekend. So
yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. Well, guys, this is the Massachusetts Maulers. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, man. Looking forward to this matchup. They are facing the Motor City Ambassadors at home. And, man, it's going to be broadcasted live on Pride Outdoor Network from 11 to 1. And our other game that's going on is going to be Alabama Hammers are hosting the Tar Heel Lunkers at Neely Henry. So both games are going to be going at the same time. Jim's going to be there. Jim's not going to be there Saturday. It's going to be myself and probably Robert going to be doing the broadcasting. So we're looking forward to having you guys join us. Please tune in this Saturday, 11 to 1, and watch this transfer. It's going to be awesome. A lot of fun.
I'd like to wish all the teams best of luck, and you guys stay safe out there, okay? Avoid all lightning at all costs.
Exactly. Guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you guys for doing that tonight. Thank you, guys.
Right,
see you guys.
Take care, guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.